to start hurting. My butt gonna start hurting. TV down. Get my hair cut. Job too. What's been going on? Anybody look C.J. Wilson? I seen he had a live. I don't know if he's still in it or when it was. Hello, how you doing, Quita? Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Glad to see you. Oh, he's talking about Rita. Yeah, it's crazy. Nice to see you here, Quita. See if we find anybody else. We'll give it a little time, see if anybody else shows up. Mm. Yeah, I didn't understand all that about Rita. Hey, I forgot to. I forgot to try to. I hope Aquarius uh, get the notification. I keep forgetting. Are you buffering? I'm not buffering now. Love Blake, you sent it yesterday. You should. It's probably yours. It's crazy, but it's in 50. I seen that. She, yeah, she was happy. Out, come back in. Okay. Well, yeah, go out and come back in. I'm trying to give it a few more minutes. And Seance said she was going to come back because I seen her at Dark and Lovely's chat. Yeah, I guess money do that to you, calm you down. Trying to give it a little. I'm trying to give it a little time. She had a platform. I think she just got it. Must have been today, but she did a live chat. She said it was her first time. She remind me of another Rita, somebody just naturally funny. Okay. Trying to wait. I was on her son's platform. That was her son that was in her her chat. Well, I don't either. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause she was on Brianna's uh, chat. I come on today. She normally come on today, but so Jay Wilson talking about Rita doing too much. If she did. No, who didn't? Yeah, it is too much. But yeah, quitter. Don't leave. I'm just waiting to try to see if a few more people get here to do our book reading about ovarian cancer. This book is called Torch, and it has 26 stories of 26 ovarian cancer survivors. Their stories. I read the stories and give the symptoms. Yeah, I think I start out reading the symptoms since we have one new person. I call her Shakira. I don't know if she's asleep or what. Oh, B-Town, you say he was dry bagging? Okay, I'll start off reading the symptoms since we got somebody new. Um, trying to give it enough time. Yeah, yeah. hmm I think it was a child. He was like 13 years old. hmm Yeah. Okay. Now, I think I waited long enough. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Um, and no, I don't wait too long before I get started. Like I said, we're reading out of this book. It's called Torch, and the synonym, what is it? It stands for Tales of Remarkable Courage and Hope. And we have uh, 13 symptoms of ovarian cancer. And one is bloating, two, uh, you have tummy pains, backache, irregular cycle, fatigue. Number six is the feeling of fullness when eating. Seven is tuberculosis. Eight is painful intercourse. Nine is constipation and or diarrhea. 10 is indigestion. 11, increased urination. 12 is lung issues. And 13 is leg pain. And there's a test that you can take. It's a blood test that can tell you if you have ovarian cancer. And the test is called CA-125. CA-125. And the blood test for breast cancer, it's BRAC2. And it's a gene. It'll be able to let you know if you're carrying that gene, breast cancer. And some of the I'm trying to think of the word. I'm just like that. The doctors will, if they think you have ovarian cancer, they may send you for an ultrasound, a CAT scan, sonogram, or PET scan, and some do an MRI. And then the three types of treatment, you could do chemo, radiation, or some people do both chemo and radiation. And then you can be put into the trial drug program for the treatment. All right. If you have any questions, anybody that's new, just put them in the comment section, and either I'll see them or one of the ladies will let me know. All right, let's go ahead and start. The name of the story is Normal, Just a Setting on My Washer. For months after I was diagnosed with stage 3C ovarian cancer in December 1997, I was counted the days until I healed from my surgery. Oh, yeah, a heavy bleeding, yeah. It said irregular menstrual cycle, yeah. I counted the days until I healed from my surgery, made it through each round of chemotherapy, drank my last batch of contrast fluid, and made it through the anxiety of another checkup. All I could think of was, when I get finished with all of these treatments, my life will get back to normal. As I neared the end of my chemo and first line of treatment, I began to panic. How was I going to do this on my own? Man, I needed those drugs to keep the cancer away. At some point, it dawned on me that here I was asking to stay on chemo when I had been counting the days until it ended, because then I could get back to normal. Over the period of a few days, I began to realize that the normal I knew before cancer was gone forever. My tears flowed for days on end as I grieved the loss of an innocent, carefree way of life that I never really appreciated. I somehow understood that my diagnosis would become a part of the fabric of my life. 9 years, 3 months, and 21 days have passed since my diagnosis. I consider myself well, but not cured. I am not I am not sure one I am not sure one is ever cured of ovarian cancer until you die of something else. That horrible nickname of the silent killer haunts me to this day. I like that we now refer to it as a disease that whispers. My affair, my affair with ovarian cancer came. Let me close this door. Be quiet. Doggone dogs. They do it every time. Okay. My affair with ovarian cancer came as a complete surprise. After what I thought was a routine hysterectomy to remove a large thyroid tumor, an unknown doctor appeared in recovery to tell me I had ovarian cancer and was going to have 6 months of chemo and lose all of my hair. My husband and my husband and OB-GYN saw me briefly and left. Somehow I survived that night and the following weeks. The unknown doctor in recovery turned out to be a oncologist from Texas Oncology, Dr. Alan Gordon. My longtime OB-GYN had called him to do my surgery when he saw it looked like ovarian cancer. For this, I will be eternally grateful because several years later, I read that an ovarian cancer patient has her surgery done by stop. Okay. Her chances of survival are 8 times greater. In those days, I grasped at any bit of positive information. At our meeting with Dr. Gordon to discuss chemo, my husband Ray and I were shocked to hear the survival rates using what he called the gold standard Taxol and carboplatin. We pressed him for other alternatives. He finally offered us a chance to use 3 chemo drugs instead of 2, but they had to be alternated because using all 3 at once would kill me. The routine was to be 8 rounds of chemo using Taxol and carboplatin, alternated with Taxol and Topeka. Topeka was still in the trial stages and not yet FDA approved. Something was attacking the cancer cells 3 different ways appealed to us. We both felt instantly comfortable with this choice. A peace came to us about these drugs. We never once looked back. Hey Lola, how you doing? We never once looked back. I was labeled Topican 6 with the use of this drug. I got a wonderful research nurse, Julie Boston, who would walk with me in close monitoring by Dr. Gordon because the research project required it. For me, this was all a wonderful blessing since I am one who needs tons of information. Ray decided I would never be left alone during chemo treatments. He came with me and stayed the entire time, sometimes 10 hours. He also felt each of our 5 children should be with me at least one session so they would understand what I was going through. I loved having each of them with me. A bonding took place during these sessions, and I soon understood that it was not just me who had ovarian cancer. Our whole family had it too, and we were all in this fight together. For the first time in my life, I felt so valued and loved by these kids and their dad. It was awesome. I began to understand that there were blessings that came with a life-threatening diagnosis. We pulled together like we had never done before. Each of us had to redefine what matters most in our lives. In my crisis over wanting my old normal back, Dr. Gordon told me I could not stay on chemo forever. Again, I pushed him for other alternatives. Surely there was something else I could do to keep this disease at bay. Again, Dr. Gordon offered me a chance at a drug trial for a monoclonal antibiotic called Ovarex. It was a double-blind study. I might get the drug and I might not, but I didn't care. I wanted to do the drug trial, and I did. Once again, I got fantastic follow-up, CAT scans, and checkups that continued for 5 years. About the time the Ovarex follow-up was ended, Dr. Gordon told me he was moving to Phoenix to head a research program there. Even being 5 years out, I felt my main supporter was being removed. Unfortunately, Dr. Alan Stringer stepped in to keep me going, and he weaned me off my endless checkups. I was young, only 54 years old, and had never been ill. I knew from Dr. Gordon that my chances of a recurrence were over 40%. But I decided that I was going to be in that 60% that did not have a recurrence. Anytime there was something negative, I found a way to turn it into a positive. If the Ovarex was given to 50%, then I was one who got it. I decided if I had one day, 1 month, or 1 year to live, I would not spend 1 minute of it crying. I was going to enjoy every minute of each day. I painted a rock with what matters to me, with what matters most on it, and put it on my kitchen counter as a reminder to make that decision each day. Ray and I made a blessing bracelet for each to wear every day, so when I was afraid, I would have an instant reminder of the blessings I had that cancer could not change. It had a cross to remind me of my faith, a heart to remind me of my love for God and my family, friends, and friends, and their love for me. An angel to remind me I was never alone, and a dove to remind. Peyton, be quiet. And a dove to remind me of the peace I would have if I remembered the other 3. After 5 years, we added an anchor as a symbol of hope for long-term survival. Last year, we added a butterfly after I completed a personal growth program called the Barnaby Journey to symbolize the new way I was going to do life. I decided that fear was a bigger killer than cancer. I had no room for it. I prayed and meditated often. I wrote a daily in a journal and still do. I sat in what I call the sun's healing rays. I read and reread a book called Everyday Strength, a cancer patient's guide to spiritual survival by Randy Beckton. I stopped drinking tap water. I told my family and friends that I loved them. I hugged them often. I went to Baylor Ovarian Cancer Support Group and loved fellow fighters. I became an advocate for my own health. I asked questions and more questions and got copies of my CAT scan reports and blood tests. I argued with Ray for weeks about how we should do life. I wanted to slow down and run and play because I might not have time to do it in the future. But he couldn't do that. He felt that if we changed the way we did things, it would be like telling God we did not believe I was going to survive. We eventually had to do life differently from each other. He plodded along during the usual routine. I ran off and played with my daughter and grandkids. I found a wonderful psychiatrist. I found a wonderful psychologist to help me learn new ways to think. I listened when Dr. Gordon got angry because I wanted to know statistics. He told me statistics are just statistics. How could he compare me to a group that contains an 80-year-old woman, a 65-year-old woman who had heart disease for 20 years, a 70-year-old woman who never had a regular checkup, or a 20-year-old college student? For statistics to be accurate, we would all have to be the same age and weight and have the same medical history and type of ovarian cancer. From that day forward, I forgot about statistics. Today, March 27, 2007, I am alive, well, 63 plus years old, working, and still longing for the normal that slipped away with that diagnosis of ovarian cancer. I have had to accept that I am happier when I believe that normal is really just a setting on my washing machine. And that story was written by Peggy Hill. Did anybody else come in? Lola, SJ. Hey, how y'all doing? How you doing? Glad to see you. Come on. I really don't have a set time, but usually, what time I usually come on? I think about 8 or 9. I try and come on. I was late night because I watched T.S. Madison. Oh, thank you, Lola. You gon' okay. Okay, Seance. Well, we'll see you tomorrow then. Next one is One Miracle After Another. 2006. What a year. I just entered my 40s and would describe myself as extremely fit and feeling great. In fact, I worked out several times a week, and bragged to my husband and friends that I felt better than I ever did in my 30s. I'm happily married with a 6-year-old kindergarten boy and still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. You know my passion. It's always stressed me out because deep in my heart, I know that God put me on this earth to do something special. What that is, I still don't know, but I hope to discover it immediately. I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma with two brothers who were much older than I. We weren't extremely close because of our age differences, but that changed when my mother died suddenly in September 1997. It was so shocking and rocked my world. Our family got much tighter after that. We all learned that life is short and that you have to live each day to its fullest. I was 32, not married, and had just started a great new job after completing my MBA. I had to pick up the pieces and move on after the tragedy. Family support was vital in getting through it all. So many things began happening after that event. I became engaged to Chris in 1998, got married in 1999, bought our first home, had a baby, Jacob, in 2000, lost my grandfather in 2001. You get the picture. While these events were happening, I was also experiencing my greatest career success ever. I traveled all over the world, had a ton of fun, and received a lot of praise from peers and company leaders. Hey, much more. Then September 11th happened, and the company I worked for was negatively impacted. I didn't feel those impacts directly, but the mood around the organization and the constant layoffs took a toll on everyone. I started feeling that there was more to life and that I was missing out on being a mother to my son. So at the end of 2002, I decided to be a stay at home mom. I have always been a conservative person, and this was the biggest risk I had ever taken, giving up a six-figure salary and not knowing my next step. But I am glad I did, knowing what I know now. It was wonderful to relive being two, three, four, and five again. I can tell you, I can tell you that nothing makes me feel better than having one-on-one time with Jacob. I love him more than anything and have truly enjoyed teaching him skills and important life lessons. My prayer to God is that I see my son grow up and become a man. I want to be influential and molding him to be an inspired human with a with a strong faith in God, desire to be successful, and a genuinely empathetic person. The greatest gift for me would be to see Jacob get married and for me to become a grandmother since my mother did not have that opportunity with me. This leads me to 2006. My husband and I enjoy a wonderful life. We've been very lucky so far, although he just lost his mother after a long illness. We finally bit the bullet and purchased our second home. This one had good bones, but needed a ton of work. It had the square footage, location, style, and potential we had been looking for so long. We felt it was the right one. Not so sure anymore. Since we bought this house, we've had a small fire. Um, Nothing was really damaged, and we were living there at the time. We battled bad contractors before moving in, and then Only a week and a half after we moved in, we got the worst news of all. I had been stressed with the move and dealing with the horrible contractors and wasn't sleeping or eating right. I didn't feel right and was having some stomach issues. My family actually has a history with digestive problems. I never go to the doctor and have actually never had much of a reason because I'm rarely sick. The only doctor I even have is a gynecologist. My stomach started to feel and look bloated. After much pleading from my dad and my husband, I called my gynecologist. He told me to come in for a sonogram since I was due for one anyway, and that he would probably send me to a gastro doctor. My appointment was September 8, 2006. I will never forget that day as long as I live. After the sonogram, I met my doctor in his office, and he proceeded to tell me I had ovarian cancer. What? I thought I had constipation. Cancer never crossed my mind in a million years. I knew he had to be wrong. He went on to share with me that one of my ovaries was the size of a grapefruit when it should be the size of an almond. Then he proceeded to tell me I needed to see an oncologist who would want to surgically remove everything, including all my female organs. Wow, never expected this. How could this be? I just saw this doctor in March and I was told I was in good health. He gave me an A plus. How could it change so drastically in 6 months? Apparently, that's the deal with ovarian cancer. It sneaks up on women with little or no recognizable symptoms. And the gynecologist medical community doesn't do a regular screening for it. Pap smears don't catch it. And I don't know of any doctor who run a CA125 blood test annually. Remember that. No wonder so many women die once diagnosed. Once I got the news, panic and fear set in. I had to find a oncologist, which was much tougher than expected. There aren't many around, but that was the type of doctor I wanted and needed. Most doctors in Dallas had at least a 2 to 3 week wait before I could get in for a consultation. But God was watching out for me and provided my first miracle. My sister-in-law in Houston is a nurse, and she happened to call on Friday, just 2 days after my diagnosis. She was in a state of shock as well. For some reason, she had an administrative meeting the next day. Saturday, with the entire top management of the clinic she works for. She started talking to one of the VPs and mentioned she was distraught because of my situation. As fate would have it, this woman told her she was married to a oncologist at MD Anderson and offered to have him call me over the weekend. Hey, how you doing? Uh, oh, get off of this. That's my daughter. Oh, okay. Offered to have him call me over the weekend. He called me right away and invited me to come to his office that Tuesday for an examination and a consultation. Wow, I couldn't believe it. How lucky to get into one of the most renowned cancer institutions and get one of the busiest surgeons in the department. I made the appointment Monday, and my husband and I took off for Houston. Tuesday was an incredibly long day. We started at 7:30 a.m. and didn't leave the facility until 11:30 p.m. We first met Dr. Pedro Ramirez because he just came in to introduce himself. He was a very kind, and I must say, handsome young doctor. My sister-in-law and husband agreed. What a nice surprise. The day was filled with lots of activity. First, the examination, follow-up consultation, EKG, blood tests, and finally a lengthy three-hour process for a CAT scan. I was exhausted and ready to get out of there. I was scheduled to go back the next morning for another exam, but opted not to go. I had another doctor to meet with in Dallas at 11 a.m. So we caught an early flight back and then went to meet with another oncologist referred to me by my gynecologist. He was also very nice and very experienced. Once my CAT scan results came back, I was given even more bad news. The cancer had spread extensively, and it was stage 4. The main concern was it had potentially entered my liver, and they wouldn't know until they opened me up. I was told it would be a lengthy surgery. The surgeon at MD Anderson was very aggressive. He told me that once they opened me up, if they did not feel they could get the tumors down to less than 1 centimeter, they wouldn't move forward and I would start chemotherapy. The Dallas doctor felt he could get 90% of the tumor. It was great to have another doctor to compare thoughts and tactics with. Ultimately, I decided to choose the MD Anderson route. Surgery was scheduled for September 18, the day before my son's birthday. I wanted to start my new life on his birthday. My whole family came to the hospital to wait. I was in surgery for 6 to 7 hours, but the outcome was the best we could hope for. Dr. Ramirez believed he got everything. The cancer had not penetrated my liver, and I avoided bowel reconstruction surgery. Miracle number 2. Hooray! I had a new lease on life. I spent 21 days at MD Anderson. Then upon my release, I developed an awful infection which sent me back into the hospital on 2 different occasions. After about 6 weeks, I got stronger and was able to begin chemotherapy. My chemotherapy treatment was done in Dallas with Dr. Fine. He is also a wonderful doctor. I did extremely well through my 6 rounds, avoiding any illnesses, and stayed on track throughout the process. February the 8th, 2007 was my last treatment, and on February 26, 2007, I got the most wonderful news ever. I am now cancer-free. Miracle number 3. I feel that I owe my life to Dr. Ramirez, Dr. Fine, and Dr. Ted Fogwell, who also helped me with decision-making and desperate health crisis during the recovery from surgery. This experience has strengthened my faith in God because I found out He really does perform miracles. My cancer journey will continue as I fight to continue remission. I will do everything possible to make sure the cancer monster as my son, and I have deemed it does not come back ever again. Maybe through this experience, I will finally find my passion. I believe that that may be God's plan. I pray for all others who are also participating in this journey. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. All cancer survivors truly know what that means. And this was a story written by Cindy Borkowski. Let's see. We'll get in it. No, munch. So pap smears do not test for its cancer cell. No, pap smears will not pick up if you have ovarian cancer. The only test that can tell you if you have cancer, ovarian cancer, is the CA-125, which they should start giving that blood test annually like they do pap smears. Yeah, I know. Most of the women said the same thing. They thought, you go and get one annually, and you think it's, it tell you that you're okay. No, everything is normal. That's what they tell you. And then you can start having those 13 symptoms that I read out. I don't know if he was in here, but I'm read it again. But those 13 symptoms, because most women are misdiagnosed even to this day, and they have all the symptoms that you may have, but you're better. Your body better than the doctors and everybody else. So if you feel like you're bloated, and it's not because of your cycle, because we normally get bloated. If it's not that and it stays and your stomach grows, then you need to go to your OB-GYN doctor. If you have, some of the, because that pap smear don't really do anything, especially it won't save your life. And the longer you wait, the worse stage you become. Because waiting 6 months, that's between living and dying. Because within 6 months out, that you will be in stage 3C or 4, stage 4 cancer, by waiting. Let's see, constipation is one, fatigue and feeling of fullness. Well, I can read the whole thing to you because I don't think it was in here. And that was the end of that story. I'll start another one as soon as I'm going to take a little break. My mouth will get dry when I read so many stories. But here's the 13 of the symptoms. Bloating, having pain in your stomach, backache, irregular cycle, fatigue, feeling of fullness when eating, tuberculosis, painful intercourse, constipation and or diarrhea, indigestion, increased urination, lung issues, and pain in your legs. Let me see what you said. 40-something years of pap smears. Yep. But, yeah, 40 years of pap smears, and they have you thinking that everything is normal, and then it don't be normal. Now I have to request them to test for ovarian cancer. Yes, and it's the CA-125. Copy your own to a. Let's see. Sorry about that. I coupled it. Copy your own to a good thing. You need to reach out and find someone who has beat it. Bring them to your platform to expand your brand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right, Lola. CA 125, and a woman that has ovarian cancer, you can also end up having breast cancer. Uh, for however, I'm not sure how it's tied in together, but the two is tied in to each other. So the breast cancer, the blood test for breast cancer is BRAC. I think they have a 1 and a 2. It's a gene that may run in your family. It could also um, occur. Your daughters could end up having ovarian cancer and or both ovarian cancer and breast cancer. Let me wet my mouth. My mouth is getting dry. Yeah, yeah. BRAC 1 and 2. Yep. So that's right. All the years of pap smears and have these women thinking that they're okay, and most of them don't find out until they start having those symptoms, or they go in. One lady she was going in for a weight loss surgery, and that's when they found out she had ovarian cancer. Well, thank you. Yeah, because too many women pass away and fight this fight after they've thought all these years that they've taken pap smear, and pap smear is going to have told them that everything is normal, everything is negative, and then they go in for something else and find out that they have ovarian cancer, or they walk around until they start having some of these symptoms and happen to go into a gynecologist, and they usually, the way they pick it up, they'll tell you go take a sonogram, ultrasound, a PET scan, or MRI, and with those, they'll be able to see if you have a mass or you have tumors. They can see the tumors. That's when they can pick it up. That's when they're able to see it then. My next one. This one is called Counting My Blessings. I was 42 years old, and I had no idea I had cancer. I attended a baby shower on October 17, 2005. And when I returned home, I began to have pain in my abdomen. I was unable to sleep all night and contacted the physician on call on Sunday, October 18, 2005. After taking antibiotics and still not feeling any better, on Monday, I called my physician. He recommended I go see him that morning. By that morning, Monday morning, my abdomen had started swelling. My regular doctor recommended I see my gynecologist. After doing so, it was recommended I have a sonogram and a CT scan. Before I received the results of the test, I went to lunch with my mom and sister. As I was eating lunch, I received a phone call from my boss's wife asking how I was doing. She was vice president of a physicians group for a local hospital system. She recommended I see an oncologist and told me she would make sure I get in to see an oncologist specialist. I called and was able to get an appointment. I believe God was working in my life during this time. I initially had an appointment with my regular gynecologist who had recommended surgery. Prior to the phone call from my wife's boss, I had planned to have a regular physician perform my surgery and had canceled an appointment with my specialist. After my boss's wife called, I called the specialist back and my appointment had been given to another patient. The nurse said if I could come in at 7:30 a.m. the next morning, which was Friday, October 22nd, 2005, the oncologist would see me. I believe God stepped in at this point to direct my steps. When I arrived at the oncologist's office, I was filling out paperwork. As I was sitting there with my mom and sister, an old friend walked in with his wife. He is a strong Christian man. As soon as he saw me, he hugged me and asked if I was there to see the doctor. I explained that I was. I knew from that point on that there would be more prayers for me. I met with the oncologist who received my test results. He sat with me, my mom, and me and explained that I would require surgery and that he would perform the surgery if I wanted him to. I must be honest and say that I was probably in shock up until this point. I I had to have so many tests. At this point, I was nervous as I had lived 42 years without ever having any type of surgery, and I was facing the prospect of having major surgery. My surgeries were scheduled for the next Friday, October 29, 2005. The day arrived for my surgery, and I had a migraine. So much stress and not eating the night before the surgery had taken its toll. I arrived at the hospital with my husband, mom, and dad, brothers, sisters, and best friend. When it was time for me to go in to be prepped, my whole family stood up and formed a circle. We held hands while my brother prayed for my safekeeping and a successful surgery. The surgery took longer than expected, and my family was told that I had cancer. My doctor took my mom and husband into a room to tell them the news. My mom told me they both, hey, Davin, my mom told me they both broke down, but they decided together that my mom would tell the rest of the family because Jerry was unable to talk about it at that point. I was finally brought to my room. I was still groggy from the anesthesia, but as I was wheeled into my room, I could see in the dim light my family surrounding my bed. My husband, Jared, leaned over and with tears in his eyes, he whispered to me how much he loved me. He then told me that they had found cancer in one of my ovaries. As tears trickled down out of my eyes, my dad leaned over and whispered in my ear that he would trade places with me if he could. I did not realize that while my family was awaiting for me to come out of recovery, they had already made a list of who would be staying with me each night in the hospital, as they were going to take turns. When my sister Sherry stayed with me, she helped me bathe. My brother Cliff and my nephew John stayed with me another night. You never know how much love your family has for you until they sacrifice their time and energy to help you get better. I felt so humbled by my family's love and caring attention. Looking back now, I realize that everyone around me was in shock. I know there are certain steps that most people go through when they find out they have cancer. It starts with anger at God and asking, why me? It then moves to feeling sorry for yourself because it is you. Then on to depression and many other emotions that are hard to deal with. I honestly never experienced any of those emotions. My first thought was, what do I need to do to fully recover? So began my amazing journey. I think that cancer is often harder on the loved ones around you. The one with cancer is often so involved in fighting the disease. Your loved ones often feel helpless in the fight. They struggle with how they can help you. They often don't realize that they're just being there and praying for you daily is the best medicine they can give. When my oncologist came to see me to explain the results, he told me I had I had stage 1C ovarian cancer. I asked him what he recommended for my treatment. He said he thought I should have 6 chemo treatments to kill any cancer cells he might have missed during the surgery. I agreed, then began the long process of recovery from the surgery so that I would be ready for chemo. Since my husband worked during the week, we decided that I would stay with my parents during the week so they could take care of me, and I would go home on the weekend to be with my husband. I must say my mom and dad were the best. I could not have done it without them. Mom made sure I ate well in order to gain back some of the weight I had lost during my surgery and recovery. We started walking at the high school track and in the afternoon and sitting on the front porch in the evenings. On the weekend, my husband Jerry would stop by and pick me up and take me home. He did all the grocery shopping, the house cleaning, and took care of our dog. My dog even mourned when I was not at home. I was truly blessed. God has had much bigger plans for me. I decided before my chemo treatment started that I would shave my head. One of my fears was that I would be standing in the shower and a large clump of my hair would fall out in my hands and I would be devastated. So I made an appointment with my hairdresser to have my head shaved. Another thing I did not realize when I was in surgery was that my family had discussed shaving their heads when it came time for me to have chemo treatments. They did not want me to be alone during this devastating process. I have heard it said that a woman's hair is her crowning glory. You don't realize how very true that is until you shave it off. My appointment with the hairdresser arrived. My mom and sister Diane went with me. My sister brought her camera and a bottle of champagne. My mom decided she would shave her head first before I had to shave mine. She would never know how much that meant to me to have show her support in that way. They made it an adventure filled with laughter and the sharing of memories that will live with me forever. My hairdresser gave my mom a mohawk before she, before she shaved off all of before she shaved it all her hair off, and we took pictures. When it came time to shave my head, the hairdresser cried because she had been giving me perms and cutting my hair for years, and she was getting ready to cut all my curls off. I think it was more devastating to her at the time than it was for me. She shaved one side of my head, then we laughed and took more pictures. As a final salute to the loss of hair, we raised our glasses in a toast. When I arrived home, my husband and dog greeted us at the front door. I felt so naked without my hair. I kept touching my head in disbelief, as my head had never been so smooth. My husband walked up to me with tears in his eyes and told me how much he loved me and how beautiful I was. We had another head shaving party at my mom and dad's house. My brother Cliff brought his clippers and shaved designs on my sister Diane's head. And of course, we took pictures. Then I got to shave my brother's head. Diane was always there to record the event with pictures. In the meantime, my middle sister shaved my niece Rachel's hair off, and she was a senior in high school. She attended her senior prom with very little hair. She had long, beautiful brown hair that reached to the middle of her back. All her friends at school thought she was ill when she shaved her hair. In my eyes, she was more beautiful than she had ever been in her life. My dad went to his hairdresser one day when I was staying with them. He didn't tell mom or me what he intended to do. He told the hairdresser he wanted to shave his head. She said, "Do you want a level 1 or level 2 shave?" That means the level of the hair you want shaved off. My dad told her to give him a number 0, no hair. She asked him several times if he was sure before she shaved him bald. My nephews, David, Jake, and John, were 15, 8, and 7 at the time I was diagnosed. I was afraid I would scare them with my not having hair, as they had always known me with long curly hair. It took They took it all in stride. The oldest nephew, David, let me play golf with him. When my hair started growing back, my nephew Jake called me Aunt Diane because my short hair I resembled my oldest sister. My nephew John made a bear for me. He drew it on paper, and my mom helped him sew it together. We called him Irregular Bear because his arms and legs were different sizes, and his head was not totally round. John wanted a pocket sewn on front with a heart-shaped button. In the pocket, he printed a note that read, "I love you, Aunt Bren." To this, that bear means so much to me, as it shows the love that my nephew had for me. I have many funny stories about this time. I believe if you can't see the humor in the situation, it will be tougher on you in the long run. One of the funny stories was when we were at my mom and dad's house one morning, and the UPS delivery guy showed up to deliver a package. We heard a knock on the door. Mom thought he was at the back door. and Dad thought he was at the front door. Dad stuck his bald head out the front door, and Mom met the guy at the back door with no hat or wig on. The UPS guy must have thought we were some type of cut as he took off running to his truck when he saw my dad with his bald head sticking out the front door, and my mom answering the door with her bald head. After we all had our heads shaved, we picked a Saturday when all the family was in town and my husband was available. We spent 5 hours taking pictures of all us bald. Those are my most treasured memories. The family I love dearly shaved their heads in support of me. Each time I look at those pictures, I realize that it is not the hair that matters. It's the love that shines from the heart when you see the family you love so much without the hair. How can you measure that much love? I don't think it's possible. After my leave of absence for surgery ended, I returned to full-time work except on the weeks that I had chemo treatments. I thought returning to work would be the most difficult time, and I approached that day with much trepidation. You see, my crowning glory was gone. I had shaved off all my hair and had purchased several wigs to wear. You always think that everyone will be able to tell that you have a wig on. Of course, every day at work, I already knew I would lose my hair, but I still had this idea in my head that they didn't know, and I feared I would have to face people who didn't know I had cancer, and people would point and whisper about the lady with no hair or the funny looking wig. I had lost 8 pounds during my leave, so very few of my clothes fit. Everything just hung on my body. When I walked in this first day back to work, my boss, Brad, had a new boss who he was meeting with that day. When I walked in, he came over and gave me a big bear hug. I say that because my boss is 6'4". He engulfed me in this huge hug, and tears filled my eyes. I knew at this point that I would be okay coming back to work. My boss was an attorney, so he is normally very stoic and reserved. You could tell he was thrilled that I was back, and that was exactly what I needed. I received more hugs that day than ever before. The support they showed me meant the world to me. I often laughed and joked about the various hats and wigs. One day around Christmas, I received a Christmas hat from one of my good friends at work. It had white fur around the brim and a long red pipe cleaner sticking out of the center with a white fur ball at the end. When I walked, the white ball on the top would wobble back and forth. I went in and out of my boss's office. He acted as though I didn't have anything unusual on my head. Another day I wore a flower pot hat that my aunt and cousins had sent me during my recovery. Okay. The hat was in the shape of a flower pot with a big, long stemmed flowers sticking out of the top. My boss, again, just walked by my desk, told me good morning, and went right into his office as if he didn't have anything unusual on my head. From that point on, I wore some rather unusual hats just to see if I could get a reaction from him. One of the toughest things about chemo is that it affects your memory. The reason this was tough for me was that my memory was one of the things that my boss always complimented me on. It was very difficult for me to remember things he asked me to do. Often, when he asked me to do something, I forgot it as soon as I walked out of his office. I started carrying a notepad with me every time I went into his office. I wrote everything down. It helped me to remember things. I don't think he ever noticed the difference in my lapses in memory. By the way, my memory improved after my chemo treatment stopped. It took many months, but it did improve. I had 6 chemo treatments. My mom sat with me through them all. I also had a girlfriend who came and sat with me. She would show up with French toast or bacon and pancakes for us to eat during my treatments. Because of the chemicals injected into my body, it was hard for me to be hungry for anything. Everything I ate had a chemical, metallic taste. Yeah. But Jan would always bring me something to eat. My mom always packed a bag with snacks for me. On those days, we sat and talked and shared memories. I had become a tradition. It had become a tradition for me to cook dressing for our Thanksgiving holiday. I am from Louisiana, so everything I cook has Cajun flavor. This was the first year that I did not have the energy to cook. My mom, my mom, sister Sherry, and older sister Diane did the cooking. It was odd not helping with any of the cooking. We celebrated Thanksgiving with family and friends. Christmas was really special. We drew names for gifts in our family. My brother had drawn my sister's name. Her gift was framed pictures of our family photo sessions. Bald is beautiful. When you see the love that shines through when your family has no hair, it is an amazing thing. It puts everything into perspective. Everything else is small stuff compared to your journey with cancer. The week of my third treatment, my grandmother passed away. This was a sad time as I had not been able to visit her in the nursing home since my surgery and chemo treatment. I had a treatment on Friday. On Saturday, I rode with my parents for 6 hours back to Lake Charles, Louisiana to attend the funeral. Hurricane Rita had just hit the Gulf Coast and Lake Charles in particular. There was so much damage in the area where my grandmother would be buried that there were no hotels within 100 miles. We had to stay in a hotel in Lafayette, an hour and a half away. To complete the funeral arrangements, we had to drive back and forth to and from our hotel for several days. My grandmother's request was that her granddaughter, nieces, and great niece be pallbearers at the funeral. That Tuesday, I was able to be a pallbearer for my grandmother. I can still, I still picture my sister, cousins, and niece all dressed in black, carrying my grandmother's casket. It had been an emotional journey. The fourth treatment came along. I was more tired than usual. I did not realize that I had a bleeding ulcer. On, on the Tuesday after treatment, I woke up not feeling well. I could not walk without getting dizzy. I called my doctor, and the nurse asked me to come in immediately. My blood count was so low, they checked me directly into the hospital from the physician's office. I was given 2 pints of blood and scheduled for a scope. They found the ulcer, catheterized it, and then released me on Friday. I was back at work on the following Monday. I never missed a treatment until the last one. My blood count, my blood count were too low. I had worn my special flower pot hat for the final one. I had to go home and try again in a week. I arrived for my treatment again, and still my counts were too low. Each time I had to call my husband to tell him it was postponed again. I could tell he was more worried than ever before. Finally, the next week, my counts were good enough to do the treatment. I called my husband to let him know. He just broke down and cried. That evening after my treatment, I went home and sat down with my husband. I had not realized until that moment how hard the treatments and cancer had been on him. He had been trying to be strong for me, but at the same time, he sat on the couch every night worrying and praying. I finally understood what this whole process had done to him. In his being strong for me, he had been holding in all his worries and fears. That night, he broke down and cried over his fear of losing me. I explained to him that if God saw fit to take me from this world, I was ready. And that is what gave me peace through the whole process. Being human, my husband told me that I might be ready for that time, but he certainly wasn't ready for me to go. I explained to him that he needed to talk to me about his fears and worries because I could not make it through this journey without him. I completed I completed my chemo treatments in March 2006. I had my 1 year checkup in March 2007, and I continued to improve every day. This cancer journey has taken me to places I've never dreamed. I consider it a blessing from God that I have taken this walk with Him. I thank my family, friends, and all those who have prayed for me during this time and have continued to celebrate the many milestones that have occurred since then. There were many who prayed for me whom I have never met. I hope one day to meet each of you and thank you personally for the prayers. I could not have made this journey without you. I believe God allowed this to happen to me for a reason. The prayer played a large part in my healing. It made me and the people around me more aware of the wonderful thing He gives us called life. This life I live on earth is by no means the best place I will ever see. One day God will call me home, and what a blessed place it will be. What a blessed life I have lived. And this was by Brenda Edwards. Let's see. Let me see. Did I miss anything? Hey Mo. Let's see. Yeah, you have to request that test. My mouth's so dry. Something. Yeah, you learn something every day, huh? I've been subscribed. Just caught this live. Join again. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Lola. Hey, Shakira. What you make it to? Yeah. Oh, much, much, much. RV Kids TV. Hello, how are you? Glad to see you. As if you're still here. Yeah, they find humor through it all. Mm, 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 mm. Hmm. He did. It's good. How much? Uh, hey TR, how you doing? That's it's lovely. See, diving, diving. Okay, Mo. Let's see. Guess who called in to Simply Trade? Oh, really? Munch, he did. What, now, what was he talking? What was he talking about? Yeah, TR is in here. I didn't see him sneak in. Well, you know, he trying to get to everybody's calling. He wants to be heard. Yeah. Do we have anybody? Let's see. Do we have anybody new that I don't think so. That I read the symptoms. Cause I want to get. I want to know if we have anybody so I can get those symptoms too. Lola, I didn't I read them to Lola, or did I not? No, I can't remember. Was that somebody else? Or did everybody say hey to or TR? If that's if he's still in here, I don't know if he's. Well, you know he is. Yeah. So what was he talking about? Was he still talking about the FBI, his FBI calls? Mm. Y'all, I work and say y'all still there. No, but he's saying stupid stuff over there. Oh, really? Oh, was that was him that changed his voice? I, I couldn't figure out who that was. I was saying, what? Yeah. So did Fabi do was she her live on? Does she normally do on Mondays? Love Blake. Did you see it? Or she made it. She may have skipped it today. I might get dry when I read those stories. So, mm, mm, don't know that. Well, there me either. But I thought maybe it may have popped up. So what else been going on? Oh, did somebody say, where did y'all say Jay Wilson would live it? Talking that little party that was throwing. Oh, oh, was it an action party? I didn't know. Let me see what they said. Oh, TR. I was reading there's a uh, ovarian cancer book. This book is hey TR. It's for ovarian cancer. I have two books, and they each have stories of 26 women survivors that wrote those stories. Some of them are still living, and some of them passed on. And so that's what I've been doing, reading 2 or 3 stories at a time, and giving the women the symptoms of ovarian cancer, because they are with ovarian cancer, they misdiagnose women with ovarian cancer, and that's really the difference between life and death, is when they are misdiagnosed. Yeah, so that's what we've been doing lately. But yeah, yeah, and then anybody have any questions, they ask me, economists or whatever. Yeah, so that's what we be doing, and then we just chit chat. Mm-hmm. So, look, like you said, so it was an actual, there was an actual party. Oh, you say speak up. You can hear me. Oh, okay. Uh, you know my voice go down, and my mouth is dry from reading. What's next? People who dumpster got. So I got to getting Krispy Kreme donuts that were at the top of the. Oh, and he ate them. Sounds okay. You know my voice goes down. Mm, I guess you say them donuts was they was closed. I guess he was homeless. If he was homeless, well, no. If there's people that dumpster dive, uh, you must have something to say. Lunch, but yeah. Oh, I didn't. I didn't know it was an actual party that they was going to, or that they had. That man wasn't homeless. He just greedy. Greedy. Well, some places, because when they like throw food away, and homeless people go digging in the trash, and they eat the food out of the trash. Um, they have to run them off, because they're afraid if the person gets sick, they could blame them. So what some people do now is, like food places, they'll put the food in the garbage bag and tie it up, and then that way, if they want to dig in the trash for food, at least it will be in a trash bag tied up. But yeah, they used to have to run them off. That's why they had to get those wood fence built around them with the key, with the lock on them, to keep them out of. Because if they get sick, they could sue the place. Yeah. Few hours on bringing some drugs or whatever. Yeah, that's what they. Yeah, that's what they were saying. That's why I was wondering because it seemed like everybody's live was about that. That somebody would say something about that they was doing, you know, doing drugs and was drinking and driving and had her daughter in the back seat. But I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, on what kind of drugs they talking about? You know, they was smoking pot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, I um, watched T.S. Madison. It was funny because the guess who was on there? Tokyo Tony was on it. She's fun. She's funny. Yeah, she was funny. I guess it's been. I guess it's been quiet today. Maybe. Yeah, they had me laughing. It was hilarious. Hmm. I see Dark and Lovely says we back. She's funny too. I didn't know she was that hilarious. Yeah, I didn't realize she was that funny. Ugh. Don't know where I go. My lip chat. My lip, my mouth be dry. When I let me try to get some ice to put it in my mouth. I think what Corey's mindset was and then she said she don't get a notification. So I know this noise. I'm trying to get some ice out here. My mouth is like dry. Drop a piece. Anything else going on? Nothing. No. Yeah, no, it ain't that quiet. Well, y'all said Jay Wilson still alive, or he's not. My mouth is dry. Shakira, you didn't see. Well, nobody else live. Look at that. Oh yeah, I didn't quite understand what was going on with her. What was up with those the emails? What was the emails about? They said something about a troll or something sent them, but I didn't understand what they were saying. But I don't know nothing. What was in the email? I don't know. That's why I was asking if any of y'all know. I don't have a clue. And them folks, they lose me over there with Rita. I guess don't nobody know. But I guess maybe she was screaming, crying. The baby was crying. Oh Lord. Mm, that's too much cry. That's too much crying and screaming. Cause I think this morning, this afternoon, whenever it was when she first came on, was it this morning? I had when she first came on, I clicked over there and she was talking, and then I forgot who it was. Cash after, I mean not Cash App, super chatted her, $49.99, and she got a little happier. She was like, "Oh, babe," she talked. "Oh, baby, you didn't have to do that. I didn't ask for no super chats." I was like, "Girl." Mm-hmm. But yeah, yeah, that and Drunk and Lovely. I wonder how big did her check get? Cause soon as she went live, I was like, let me see what she had to talk about. But she was hilarious. She was talking crap. Mm-mm-mm. So let's see. Monday. Oh, did the Mess Express come on? Anybody know? See, I seen Daryl, B Town Daryl Moore. He had a special guest appearance. He said by a real something, a real doctorate holder in ministry. Oh, okay. Hmm. Cause he probably did that because wasn't he trying to? He said Larry Reed didn't go. Don't have no. They're on Larry Reed. Who is? Oh, that's no. It say no. It says he's on his live. Daryl. He's not on Larry Reed. Special guest appearance by a real doctorate holder in ministry discussing Larry Reed. Yeah, so they're on Daryl's page. You better turn it down. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh my goodness. Whew, I got stiff sitting like that. I didn't get my hair cut today, so this topic is Larry Reed. Yeah. Yeah, talking, because you said that uh, Larry, he didn't have the credentials that he said he did. Whatever that was, was it his doctorate degree or PhD or something? He said that supposedly Larry claimed he have. They're saying his degree is fake. Yeah, yeah. You know you can download them off the internet. But so if he got somebody. I guess appearance. I guess they gonna. Mm-mm. But see, I thought Jobs and Conscious TV and Larry Reid. I thought they all was friends. I didn't know that him and Larry was not friends. So yeah, that's 68. Did y'all see? Did y'all see all those comments on that video, that 5 8 video? Them people, some of those women was writing some paragraphs. I think it's like 100 and some comments. I mean, I normally answer, you know, make a response to all of my. That's the problem. Standards to respect. That's the problem. They were all friends working on a project, and it just went apart. Oh, okay, because I thought they all was was friends, associates, or something. What is Andrew Caldwell doing? Have he been hiding, or somebody? His handlers done got a hold to him, and he can't act. He can't do all that craziness because I ain't seen it. Mm-mm-mm. It's quiet. It's quiet today, I guess. Have a uh, have a what's her name? Ask April said anything. She's still going to vacation. Did the rest of them sleep? Shakira, are you in here? Larry Reid, let's see if they make it to Easter Sunday. I'm just trying to do a reality show. Okay. Today, riding around with his ex and the kids in the back. The, now, his wife, his ex-wife works with him, work in his show with him, don't she? Last time I known, she did. Couldn't turn it down. Well, that was right there. What you talking about? That sound like what is oh, vacation? Oh, this a word that Bobby came up with fi and vacation. She put it together and called it vacation. You keep me laughing. she had, she has a wife, but it looks like they're trying to get back together. Oh, okay, yeah, because I know his ex-wife. Yeah, but she was working with him during his show. You know, the Larry Reed show. At one time, she worked with him. She who have a wife, Larry Reed's ex-wife. She have a wife. Oh, she's old. Did she? Okay. Mm, mm. I can't believe. I can't believe nothing. Um, I ain't seen nothing pop up about a Mess Express or VS or trying to reality show. Mm. We're talking about with him and his ex-wife. Him and his ex-wife, or somebody, or just him. Hmm. Oh, but oh, okay. Hmm. Well, that's for for TV or for YouTube. You can see the video he put up today. Oh, okay. Hmm. TV. Oh, okay. Well, I thought he was having some legal issues. Or what was that finished with? He finished with his legal issues, whatever they were. Some drink. Hmm. Let me get some drink. Did you eat that chicken? Did you eat that chicken? Huh? Well, you don't want you what? In that bag. I seen you eating it. Yes, you did. I heard you eating it. get some drink. One minute. Oh, use them to build his fan base and dump them by the wayside. Well, he probably did, cause I know it was that his ex-wife was working with him on his on the show he have now. I didn't know she had quit. Um. Uh. Let's see. One of the I didn't either. I didn't have a clue. Mm-mm. Yeah, I don't do nothing for. I stay here and watch TV. I just gotta make sure I have something to eat before, cause I don't do the Christmas food. Somebody, there was a woman that had commented on that video of mine. Well, threats and stuff. Oh my goodness! But she had asked me a question. She wanted me to do a discussion or panel or something, um, so that people could discuss that 5A and James Caldwell uh, issue. So I was like, she asked me that late last night. I just happened to see there was somebody had left a comment, and she asked me that. I told her, well, I say, well, I'll think about it. I said, let me think about it, and I'll let you know, because it was late last night when she asked me, when she put the question. But it would be good, but and on the other hand, it's hard. It would be hard to deal with a bunch of um, opinionated women, because that's mostly what it is women. And you know how them folks, they like, you can't say hold up, wait a minute. They just be mm, mm, I don't know, knuckleheads. Yeah, they'll yeah they'll get on there and you be saying one at a time, and they be screaming and all that. I don't know. Mm. Mm. So if I know she has made a mistake, but is she in what I hear can't figure but her but how is she in but here can fix it. No, I don't think they can fix it. That's probably why she ain't jumped on live too much. Yep. Because I wonder how many people is she getting in her life. Is she getting in her lives now? I know Jay Wilson's is pretty low. So I'm supposed to be getting my hair cut. He didn't even come. Stood me up. Did you see the peach tree up about a year in his yeah, I seen it. It had the little, what was it? It had it around the, something, around the, oh, so was it Snoopy or something? The one with his wife and, or 2 kids or something, 3 kids or something. I bet he wasn't ready for nothing like that. With them doxing him. You better stop. Coat he had. The coat he had one. What coat? Oh, that old psychedelic coat he had on. Cause yeah, that was a funky looking coat. Oh, it was 4 kids. Okay, that jacket he had on was something else. It was very colorful. Yeah, it was real colorful. See, looking like something from the set. Yes, I guess he thought he was looking good with that suit on, with that jacket on. What is it? Sean Bradley. Late night conversation. Probably behind the pink door. I want to say, but it was. I seen, I seen somebody talking about that he was fine. It's like, girl, but did y'all see that picture? He was eating, what was that, chocolate covered strawberry or watermelon or something? And he had, and his, it was just disgusting. Tell Baby Shark, go to bed. I know, what are you doing up this late? I thought they had moved, had moved to another sector. Oh, it was strawberries. It looked gross. And his mouth was looking sloppy, wet, and it was falling all out his mouth as he was putting it in. I don't know what he was doing. That was gross. He was trying to stick his tongue out and eat at the same time. It was like, what is wrong with this dude? That was a hot mess. The difference said he didn't know what it was for brother. He didn't. He must not seen when her videos where she announced that she was bringing her brother on. Who he thought he was. You're gonna Jack caught what he was saying. Caught what he was saying. saying. And you say they caught what he was saying. What was he saying when he did? You talking about when he didn't know that it was her brother? There's a lot of people saying that. Yeah, people doubting that there was her brother. Doubting that there was her brother. It probably wasn't. It probably ain't no brother. Could be because they were saying the stuff that they were saying to each other and about each other. Because she just kept on talking about how fine he was. Um, I ain't never heard no sisters and brothers, declaring how fine her brother, their brothers are. Me, my brothers, I would say, they nice guys. They nice looking. But to be saying how fine they are, no, mm-mm. So that's getting that's got people wondering too, because that's kind of strange. Mm-hmm. To define the sex. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Because he got that prison bill. Mm. Well, I knew, I knew he had been in prison uh, when I just first seen it, and and it was just, I knew because, and guys that've been in prison, they they called all police, boss man, yeah, boss man. Had somebody doing the thing. But you quit calling me that. Gee, you ain't in prison, and I'm not at work. Jeez. Mm. Sure don't seem like no Christmas Eve, but I mean it never seemed like Christmas Eve or Christmas to me, because I don't really I don't celebrate them. Give me trying to say Tim Oh, is that why they was calling him illiterate? Because they were sure saying he was illiterate. Because he could. Because Tim said it don't matter whether I get along with Jay Wilson or not. You ain't gonna come in here talking about what you gonna do. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't. I'm just trying to get me a burger from somewhere before everything closed down. So if I have to warm it up for tomorrow, I'll have something. Yeah, and I don't do the Thanksgiving, the food, so I do wish I could have found somebody to make me that Oreo cheesecake that I've been talking about since Thanksgiving, but I haven't found anybody. And I know there's a lady that does What's her name? Tanya. Tanya. Okay. All right, Tanya. Primetime TV. She does. She makes cakes and pies and stuff. Just come from food. It's a true story. Not the false story. Okay, let's see. Heard him say, yeah, I'm going to have plenty of money before Christmas. Oh, don't know they got paid on the 22nd. Well, I don't know where he gonna get that from. Oh, so he's expecting for uh, them women to give him all their money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that tell you what he's about. Mm. Yeah, I don't know about that. That lady want me to do that discussion. Well, folks get out of hand, and women get the arguing, and I don't know what to ask. Mm, I don't know if they'd be good, good or not. I might have to think about it. Mm, mm, I did. What was? Let me see. What did he do today? I can't remember. It was this. It was earlier today, and not now. I can't remember what it was about. What was his? Okay. What was Brian's video today? Was about. I can't remember. I don't have a clue what it was. What it. Did you look at it, Love Blake? What was it about? Tell me what it was about. That's the only way it's going to shake my memory. What he say? He opened up yesterday. Was butter. Yeah, that was, the one he did yesterday was where he opened up with that butter melting. Yeah, 'cause I can't remember, but he had one today. I can't remember what it was about. Brian, the extraordinary Brian. He killing me. Brian. Brian. He killed me when he been talking in third person. I said, Brian. What did that mean? Butterbean. Yeah, that's a good name for him. Butterbean instead of Bud. It's like, why would call except butter? Child. Mm. Anybody listen to it? So,
It ain't about giving. It
or that's she's still alive. She's still alive. Dark and Lovely. And her son, I guess this is the son. She's funny. And then see, no, she's not like Rita. She reminds me of her personality is like, I guess, Bobby. You know, funny. Who else have personality that you just laugh? They hilarious without trying. Nothing is going on. I think they came back. Oh, talking about the. Oh, okay. From the talking about Dark and Loving. Mm-mm-mm. You mean that? Tell me that was on. Jay was on talking about nothing else. I know that one where he was saying more than just talking about Rita. They really crack me up except for Rebel. I might one. Let's see who's funny to me. I'll maybe Brian is funny. Who else? No, he's really not funny to me. And Rebel is not funny unless he's doing um, a parody. Other than that, he's not funny. Mm, sure, can't think of nobody that's funny. What the- I guess I'm gonna say I can think of Brian, the only one that cracked me up. His whole video. I saw his interview with Brian. It was real fun. Yeah. No, when he well, was it funny? It wasn't really funny to me, but some of the stuff he said was funny. It was because to me, he was just being open and truthful instead of being the type of person that he was on the gentleman's panel. With that interview, he whatever question she asked him, he answered it truthfully, whether it was pretty or not so nice, and he was able to express stuff the way he wanted to express it without worrying about trying to be a gentleman. But yeah, it was good. It was a good interview, and it did. Yeah, he's quick wit, and so that interview was pretty good. But just like on the gentleman's panel, it it doesn't let you see the real him. Mm, Brian is funny, and I don't look at the old snotty nose. I don't watch him, and I was looking at. I got to uh, look at the rest of that. What's his name? Rico was going off, and I'm guessing he was going. I'm guessing he was going off on when he always going off on snotty nose. I got to go back so I can finish watching it. I don't even know what is the name of it. Hmm. I don't think I seen a video from Red Pill today. I guess it's quiet. Hmm. Let let who be? Rico keep master help me on that. You think so? It may be because I was like, now what did he say? What he does? What's his name? Snotty Nose done said to get him all riled up again. He probably trying to get his he probably trying to get his clicks and views. Rico, he ain't that crazy. He know how to get them clicks and views. Yeah, quiet. Yeah, because it was like, what the heck did Snotty Nose say to him to have him going off on? He he act like a butthurt lover that he is. It seems like every time you can blow on him and he starts talking about Snotty Nose again. Oh boy. He posts pictures up on his What what pictures did he put up? Wait, patient. Yeah, just like she's past her bedtime. Mm. Oh yeah, yeah. That's I don't know what's wrong with these men. Just and these old. What George been up to? I don't know. Yeah, she good tonight because it's Christmas Eve. What's was talking about? He was talking about tonight. I have to watch me. Talking about what? He said Jay Wilson was talking about SH. What's a what's SH? Was talking. I don't know what your SH. Oh, was talking about her tonight. Oh, I wonder what she done did or said. Just ain't no telling. Mm-hmm. V-Town, you didn't go to TR's uh, chat today? Mm. This video contains content from CBS, who has blocked it on copyright ground. Uh-oh. What did she? Why would she do that? Let me see. Da- Danny and Sophie Love Story Part 1. The the L generation. The the L generation Q. LGBTQ Showtime. Why would anybody do that? Is he on a tree again? Who? Tree dragged her wood. She dragged her just. I can't believe it. She must have to get some nerves up for a couple of months to do that. That let's be honest. She had and she guess she dropped a video, and it was called Danny and Sophie Love Story Part 1. And I guess it said the L word Generation Q. And there used to be a show called the L word. So I don't know if she got they whatever video she had out, they struck it and said this video contains content from CBS CID, who has blocked it on copyright grounds. So why would you try to put up a video that was on Showtime, that show called The L Word? It was says, let's be honest. She used to be, I think she used to be TSCC. Got it struck. Yeah, that wasn't gonna work out for you. It wasn't gonna work
This
out.
is about having the people that
It always does. Rose has it. She's not with. Talking about Shelly. It didn't seem last video or last couple of videos I seen of hers. It didn't seem like they were. Oh, you talking about Tree? No, she. Now since when they got into it, she ain't been over there. He gave her $1.99 back. Remember when he refunded her $1.99? That was the end. Aquarius mindset. Maybe she's asleep. I'm trying to show y'all something. Why you can't show it? I'll be back. Let me go check on my dogs. They lock my dogs up. Did you find what you were trying to show us? Send it to me. Where did you send it to me? Email? Was it email? Oh, where's Kristen? Yeah, she ain't told me yet. She ain't said yes or no yet. It's taking that long. Is it email or what? I don't know. I I I kept asking you, was it email or what? You never did answer. Cause I don't. I seen the email, but I don't. I don't know. I don't know how to open whatever it is. Is it something that's gonna open or something? What's I don't know how to. I don't know how to work that you get. What's the numbers for? I seen the email. Well, you got these numbers. Where do they go? You texted to me. I didn't get a text from you. I did click the the blue highlighted. All right, love Blake. You have a good one. I'm not gonna be on here too much longer myself. You say check the email now. Lord have mercy. Yeah, yeah. I I already seen it. What is wrong with him? Why he look like he got on women panties? I already seen it, little Blake. I mean, not little Blake. Uh, yeah, that's why I say, why do he look like he always wearing women panties? And second, why do he keep taking these pictures of his naked butt or no nothing on but look like a pair of women underwear? Snotty nose. I can't even think of his name. That's the only thing I can call him. Lord have mercy. Let me try to look. Child, what a mess. Uh, oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, I told you I seen it already. It's open, but sure it opened and I don't know when I left. It was caught me for life. It do, yes, Lord. What is that? A one time? it burns up after you look at it. Cause I sure can't find it. Lord. Oh, okay. I know what it is. Why? Ooh. Wait. Let me tell. What? I'm buffering. Yeah, I'm buffering because I was trying to get that picture so y'all can see it, but I don't know how to get it to you. I don't know how to get it to you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And yeah, child, that picture of him was a hot mess. Got on some hot pink panties, sheer panties. He walking around. I ain't never seen no man with no sheer uh, panties, pink. Just nasty. I can't. Ooh. I don't know why you did that to me, because that is ingrained in my head. It- Did he not know that men don't wear panties? was pitiful. Shakira. Shakira, check your email. Merry Christmas, Rita baby. My phone about to die. Here you go. My dog gonna charge. Yeah, it's gonna die.